Hey guys, it's Danny the Odd Gamer here, and welcome to this week's Creepypasta. This week will be Windows. I hope you guys enjoy. Monsters. Freaking monsters. Yeah, I know they aren't real. It's always a dude in a suit or someone playing a joke. Well, that is all BS. I saw one and I know it was real, because it saw me too. Might as well start from the beginning. My older brother was always a dick, always getting what he wanted and blaming me for stuff he did wrong. Our dad, only parent we lived with, would believe him instantly. I'm not bitter about it, but it's still a sore spot. I was rather skilled with technology and computers. My brother's was more inclined to manual labor and punching people. Though we looked almost alike, enough to be twins, he is a year older. My father would spend a lot of time out, hitting on women and drinking. Every night he was out. My brother would go to his friend's house a mile or two away from our place. Since we lived in a small town, just out of range from most cell phones, and a good hour from any police station or any civilization, other than the post office / general store. We were one of 5 houses in a 4-mile radius down in a valley. If you cannot tell, this is going to be something no one else can corroborate. Anyway, one of those nights when my father was drinking, and my brother was off doing something with his friends, I was sleeping on the couch in the living room. I had some hard time sleeping in my room in the basement when home alone. Just some personal issues with small spaces and no windows. This night helped me get over that. The TV was going, something stupid on Adult Swim, and I was awoke by a weird sound from the door. My brother would get high or drunk and wander home around 3 or 4 a.m. most times when he went out. But it was only midnight when I looked over at the clock. Thinking he had a fight with his friends or something, I hopped up from the couch and tugged my pants into place since they were a little too big for me. So I walked, no shirt or socks or anything, to the door and looked through the peephole. Nothing out there. With a shrug, I think it was a dog and walked back to the couch. The moment I sat down, looking at the TV, a movement outside catches my eye. Probably the dog that had been pawing at the door. I give a sigh, thinking about how that mutt could take a crap on the porch and I would have to clean it up. I walk back to the door, glancing at the window. The moment my fingers touched the knob, every cell in my body locked up, freezing me in place. My skin started shivering, goosebumps formed on every inch of me. As I tried in vain to move my body on will alone, I could not process this thing for a full minute. Long, thin, and slinky. It was not a friggin' dog. Scales instead of fur covered it, black with some gray ones here and there. Its tail made up so much of its body that it looked as if it had begun right behind the only 2 limbs it had. Hands, not paws, were at the end of its arms. But the arms? Those arms were wrong in so many ways. They had what looked like 3 elbows. The arms curved in a few different ways, making it look broken and bent. I could only see the hands because they pressed to the glass of the window, along with its face. Yes, a face, human almost, but the thing had no lips, just a slit across the spot above its jaw. Their eyes were solid black, and the nose was just a bump with one hole toward the bottom. It looked like someone had taken a blank doll and carved a face into it. It was just as still as I was, looking right at me, while I held the doorknob. I thought it was just some kind of joke, some kind of trick of the light. But the longer I stared at it, the less I could deny it was alive. I could see the fog forming from its nose, the way its body inflated ever so slightly with each breath. My eyes drifted over it, memorizing each feature in horror, burning that thing into me. Black nails, chipped and broken as if they had been using it to crawl around. The slightest gap between the top and bottom of that slit across its face. Then I looked at its eyes, those horrid black beads, perfectly round and sticking barely off of its face. I could not tell if they were moving them at all. Then it did the creepiest thing that it could have. It smiled. The pale, smooth cheeks creased as its mouth arched and gave me a hint of the teeth behind it. Not full rows of razors like I had somehow expected, but broken human teeth. My lungs were not working. Time slowed down as my brain began flooding with energy, begging me to decide on fight or flight. I hardened my gaze, eyebrows furrowed in anger at this thing, and it just kept smiling. I let the knob go and slowly gained the ability to stand right. As soon as I squared my shoulders with that monster, the smile slowly faded from its face. Passing all the way to a deep frown, it tapped the window one time with a black broken nail. A shudder ran through me before I could stop it. The beast gave another tap with its finger as that thick, black snake tail coiled around itself. I did not move this time, instead trying to think. Dad's gun would be in the closet, but the shells were in his dresser. I would have to get to them both within seconds. If I moved, that thing could come through the window easily. I knew it from the loud sounds of just one finger tapping, like I could see the wheels in my head turning. It spread those long fingers, raking the black nails inward. Trails of scratches formed with a high-pitched sound till it made a fist against the glass. I mirrored its actions, not sure why, but it seemed to confuse the thing. It spread its hand opened again, turned it side to side. I copied that too. It raised its hands. Mine followed. Then it touched its face. I cupped my face in the same way. Twisted its arm in an O shape. I doubled that too. When I couldn't copy the movement, it went back to smiling at me, now curling and uncurling its arm as if it was mocking me with my lack of joints. This thing. Not only had it caused a fear in me I had never experienced, but now it was teasing me. This monster freak was acting like it was better than me. Without meaning to or any form of planning, I looked it right into the eye and said, "At least I have legs." It stopped moving its arm and looked right into my eye. Face gone into a blank slate again. Then in the worst, deepest, and most evil voice I could ever imagine, it spoke. Diving backwards into my dad's room, I slammed the door shut and ran for the gun. The closet door slid hard to the side, slamming loudly while blood rushed through my body. My fingertips gripped the barrel and I all but leaped into the dresser, fishing into it with one hand and pulling 3 shells out. I turned to the door, stuffing them into the 12 gauge and pointing right at the center of the door. It took me maybe a minute in total once I was in the door, but I was ready. I was going to blow that thing to pieces. I stayed there, holding the gun and waiting for 5 minutes. No broken glass sounds, nothing but silence. Then I whipped around, checking both windows, nothing again. 4 hours I stood there, ready to unload all 3 shells into anything that moved. 4 hours I waited to see those twisted hands reaching for me. Then the front door opened. I turned around, still pointing at the door, when I heard my brother call out, "Hey, you up?" Shakily opened the door, still holding the gun. Nothing in the window, and my older brother opening a can of soda. He was not drunk or high tonight, just kind of sleepy. When he asked me, "Why do you have that?" I explained what I saw. I explained what happened and I begged him to believe me. He said I was just screwing with him and went to bed. I was begging him to stay up with me till morning. No dice. So I sat on the couch with a shotgun in head, looking at the same window till my dad got home. He didn't believe me either. I slept in my room, no windows and only one door all day. And the next night I stayed down there too. I couldn't go in the living room after that. My brother actually stayed up with me all night, showing me that there wasn't a damn thing to be afraid of. I don't know what people have told you or even what you believe, but there are things out there. Things that want to hurt you. There are things that can and will toy with you just for the fun of it. My advice, get a gun and a bunker, because that is the closest thing to feeling safe that you will have.